You probably saw the headline, right? River Plate 0, Monterrey 0. A scoreless draw.
Yep.
And, okay, if you're like most football fans, your first thought might have been, oh boy, a bit of a snooze fest.
Yeah, 0-0 doesn't always scream excitement.
But what if we told you this particular 0-0 match was anything but boring? What if it was actually this really captivating tactical chess match? Brimming with individual brilliance, some controversy, and stakes that have now just shot through the roof for both teams in the FIFA Club World Cup.
That's exactly what we're diving into today. This wasn't just any scoreless draw. It was, a strategic deadlock. Happened June 21st, 2025, out at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena.
Iconic venue.
Totally. And we're going to unpack the tactics, the philosophies that kind of clashed. We'll spotlight the players who really shaped the game.
Yeah.
And reveal how this, scrappy result, as some called it, has set up one of the most complex and honestly most exciting Group E situations we've seen in a while.
So we're going beyond that simple scoreline. We're going to give you the full picture, the intricate details of what really happened, and crucially, what it means now for qualification.
Exactly.
Okay, so to really get this deadlock, we have to start with the setting, right? The Rose Bowl. You mentioned it. This wasn't some kickabout.
No.
We're talking a packed stadium, over 57,000 fans. Sources were calling it a carnival atmosphere. Yeah. Huge supporter sections for both River and Monterrey.
Yeah, the visuals were pretty impressive. Passionate fans.
And despite no goals, reports kept calling it lively, scrappy, even ill-tempered. Now, when you hear a 0-0 game described as ill-tempered, what does that immediately tell you?
It signals a fight, a physical, really hard-fought battle where, every single inch was contested, emotions were clearly running high.
Right.
And the numbers, they absolutely back that up. This was not a game for the faint of heart. We saw a massive 40 combined fouls.
40. Oh.
Yeah, and 8 yellow cards total. 3 for River Plate, 5 for Monterrey. And that physicality, it kind of peaked with River's Kevin Castaño getting that second yellow deep in stoppage time.
Right at the end, 90+1.
Led to a red card. It was a tactical foul, sure, stopping a counterattack, but it just summed up the intensity, For a goalless game to generate that much friction, it tells you neither side was giving an inch.
Definitely sounds like a war of attrition. But, okay, here's where the stats get really interesting, I think. The contrast between possession and actual chances. Monterrey had way more of the ball, almost 60%. River Plate just over 40%.
Right, quite a difference.
Yet River Plate just hammered them with shots. 18 attempts to Monterrey's 3. And River got 6 on target, Monterrey only 2.
Yeah, that disparity is striking.
So what does that tell you about the tactics? Was River just wasteful? Or was Monterrey's defense just, brilliantly organized? Or maybe a bit of both?
I think it's absolutely a bit of both. But it leans pretty heavily towards Monterrey's defensive setup being, masterful on the day. River Plate's urgency was obvious, right? 18 shots shows they wanted the win.
For sure.
But Monterrey's discipline, their organization under the new manager, Dominic Torrent, it just turned all that River Plate pressure into, frustration, really. They let River have the ball, but not in the really dangerous spots.
All right.
And when River did get close, the back line, the keeper, they were just solid, almost impenetrable.
And speaking of impenetrable, let's talk goalies. Monterrey's Esteban Andrada was incredibly busy, right? 6 saves, some crucial ones.
Yep, 6 saves.
While River Plate's Franco Armani only had to make 2. Those numbers really hammer home your point about Monterrey's defensive focus.
Precisely. Andrada wasn't just busy. Sources called him Monterrey's wall. His performance was absolutely critical for Monterrey getting that point.
Yeah, sounds like it.
For River Plate, Armani was fine, but their frustration was just, you could feel it. They were creating openings, but the final ball, the final shot, maybe the quality wasn't quite there. Plus, Andrada was just on fire. They couldn't break through.
Which brings us neatly to River Plate's problems up front in that final third. A huge piece was missing. Sebastian Driussi.
Ah, yeah, key player.
Sprained his ankle in their first game, that 3-1 win over Urawa Reds. Expected to miss the rest of the tournament. And the coach, Marcelo Gallardo, basically said they lost an attacking system that was working well with them. How much of River's inability to score can you really pin on that one injury?
Oh, it's a massive factor. Driussi isn't just a scorer. He's the connector. He understands Gallardo's system. He makes it flow.
Right.
Without him, Gallardo tried things, brought in Maxi Meza, played Facundo Colidio more centrally. But Colidio, even though he was great against Urawa, he's a different type of player.
How so?
Well, sources noted he doesn't enjoy playing with his back to goal. And guess what? Monterrey's center backs, Sergio Ramos, and John Medina made him do.
Play with his back to goal.
Exactly. So it wasn't just losing a player, it was losing a specific type of player that their attack was built around. It forced a tactical shuffle that just didn't quite work against that really solid Monterrey defense.
And you could see it in the missed chances. There was that Gonzalo Martinez volley wide. Although, hang on, another source said it was Lucas Martinez Cuarta who brutally shanked a point-blank volley from a corner. Bit confusing there.
Yeah, sometimes the reports differ slightly on the specifics, but the point is the chances were there.
Right. And later, Gerardo Arteaga clearing one off the line after Andrada got caught out. It really felt like they were knocking.
You can kick the door down. Exactly. Yeah. They definitely had clear opportunities, which makes the 0-0 even more agonizing for them, I imagine.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is how the subs almost changed things. Miguel Borja, more of a traditional number 9, right? He came on around the 70th minute.
Yeah, 70th, 71st, somewhere around there.
And immediately caused problems. Forced Andrada into multiple saves, close range stuff. His impact was so noticeable, you've got to think he starts the next game.
Good chance.
It's that classic thing, see what's not working, bring on a different profile, try to unlock things.
And we have to talk about the kid, Franco Mastantuono.
Yeah.
Only 17. Already signed for Real Madrid.
Incredible talent.
Impressed everyone with his energetic play and silky left foot. Juan Pablo Soren on Daisy en Español had a great line, calling his attitude, Es la rebeldía de la juventud.
The rebellion of youth. I like that.
Yeah. And despite being, still raw, he keeps impressing. Showed a mindset of a real competitor under pressure. He even got the official Michelob Ultra Superior Player of the Match.
Which caused a bit of stir online, apparently.
Yeah, some fans on Reddit were like, really? In this game? But
yeah,
still, for a 17-year-old to get noticed in such a tight defensive scrap, what does that say about him?
It says he's got something special. That ability to just stand out when the game's bogged down. His energy, his quick feet, they're disruptive.
Right.
Maybe he didn't win the game, but just injecting that bit of dynamism, worrying the defense, it speaks volumes about his potential. And not just technically gifted, but mentally strong enough for the big stage already. That's huge at 17.
Definitely want to watch.
Yeah.
Now let's loop back to that red card. Castaño's out for the next crucial match. Big loss.
Definitely.
But what really got fans buzzing online was this idea that Enzo Perez and Giuliano Galoppo also got yellows, leading to fears River could be without their entire starting midfield or, 3 starting midfielders. How serious is that potential hit?
It's a concern, for sure, but maybe not quite that dire. Castaño's absence is guaranteed. He's a key shield. That hurts.
Okay.
But the others, Perez and Galoppo, they got yellows, yes, but they'd only be suspended if it was their second yellow of the group stage.
Ah, okay. Accumulation rules.
Right. One source suggested Castaño was really the only suspension risk from that game's cards. So it's a loss of a key part, yes, but maybe not a totally decimated midfield. Still, any absence in a must-win game feels bigger.
True enough. Okay, let's flip the script. Let's talk Monterrey's defense, because that was the story on their side, right? Just rock solid.
Absolutely, the backbone of their whole performance.
And it became pretty clear this wasn't an accident. Reports said Monterrey were actually happy with a draw going in, especially after holding Inter Milan 1-1 earlier.
Yeah, seems like it was part of the plan.
So when a team openly aims for a draw against a strong opponent, what does that tell you about their manager's thinking? Their confidence in pulling it off?
It shows immense belief in their defensive structure, their ability to frustrate, even if it means sacrificing, attacking ambition. And that's very Dominic Torrent, the new manager, former Guardiola assistant. He's clearly brought in this hardened mindset, this real commitment to defending. Reports mentioned him turning up the intensity in training.
Interesting.
His philosophy seems clear. Keep possession, play out from the back, no long balls was a specific note. And then defensively, high press, be aggressive. It's calculated. Control and denial, even if it limits your own attack.
And boy, did it limit their attack. Despite the defensive masterclass, Monterrey created next to nothing going forward.
Very little, yeah.
Their starting number 9, German Berterame, subbed off, had only 11 touches, 0 shots.
Ouch.
Even their creative guy, Sergio Canales, worked hard apparently, noteworthy work rate, but did little more when he was in possession. Their only goal in the whole tournament so far came from Sergio Ramos, a defender, off a corner against Inter.
Yeah, tells a story, doesn't it?
So defense stellar, yes, but does that lack of offensive punch become a real problem now? especially if they find themselves needing a win.
It absolutely can be, but it's the risk they seem willing to take. Torrent's approach suggests that if you're solid at the back, you always have a shot.
Stay in the game.
Exactly. They've shown they can shut down top teams. The trade-off is that offensive spark. They struggle to create clear chances, so they're relying heavily on those shutouts or maybe, one opportunistic moment.
A set piece, maybe.
Could be. They aren't built to blow teams away. They're built to frustrate and maybe nick one, which makes their next match fascinating. If they need a goal against Urawa, can they actually find it? Or is it all about the defense again?
And if there was one absolute hero in that defense, it has to be the keeper, Andrada.
Oh, without a doubt.
Lived up to that Monterrey's wall nickname, vital saves in the second half, denying Mastantuono, denying Borja. He was arguably the real man of the match.
Could easily make that case. And Ortega had that crucial goal line clearance, too. It was a team effort defensively, for sure.
But Andrada was the key.
He was the absolute linchpin. His performance wasn't just good, it saved the game for them. Made the difference between 1 point and 0. For anyone who appreciates goalkeeping, it was just a masterclass. Positioning, reflexes, calm under pressure. He really embodies that hardened mindset Torrent wants.
So all that tactical battling, all that defense, all that frustration, this seemingly quiet 0-0 draw has just blown Group E wide open. It's created one of the most complex, most thrilling final day scenarios in the whole tournament.
It really has. Let's break down this Group E conundrum. After 2 games each, River Plate and Inter Milan tied at the top, 4 points apiece.
Oh.
Monterrey lurking just behind with 2 points from their 2 draws.
And Urawa Red Diamonds, sadly for them, eliminated with 0 points.
So yeah, qualification absolutely will go down to the wire. River Plate versus Inter Milan, that's being called a potential classic.
Basically a knockout game.
In all but name, yeah. If either team wins, they're through. Simple enough. But for you watching, especially if you love the nitty-gritty of tournament rules, this is where it gets really wild because of the tiebreakers.
Oh boy, here we go. Less football, more like advanced math.
Pretty much. If River and Inter draw, then things get incredibly complicated. It goes to results between the tied teams, then goal difference in those matches, then goal score.
Okay, slow down. Give me an example.
Right. So say River and Inter draw 0-0,
Okay.
and then Monterrey beats Urawa. Maybe 1-0. It doesn't matter by how much. In that scenario, Monterrey would actually progress. They'd leapfrog River Plate based on the head-to-head tie involving Monterrey, River, and Inter, where Monterrey got draws against both.
Wow. So a 0-0 draw between the top two could knock River out if Monterrey win.
Exactly. Or another one, say River and Inter draw 1-1. Now it gets even messier. It would likely go down to overall group goal difference between River and Monterrey.
Okay.
In that specific case, Monterrey would need to beat Urawa by 3 clear goals to go through.
Yeah.
It just shows how every single goal or lack of goals in the previous games now has this huge ripple effect.
That's incredible.
However, there's a twist. If River and Inter draw 2-2 or, 3-3, any higher scoring draw,
Yeah.
then River would go through along with Inter, regardless of what Monterrey does against Urawa, because the head-to-head tiebreaker involving goals scored between them would favor River and Inter.
Mind blown. It's a complete puzzle box. So many variables.
Which sets up an absolutely thrilling final match day, Wednesday, June 25th. You have got River Plate versus Inter Milan up in Seattle.
Huge game.
And Monterrey versus Urawa Red Diamonds back in LA at the Rose Bowl again. Monterrey's fate completely tied. They have to beat Urawa, obviously. But even then, they need the right kind of result from that River Inter game. It's just a beautiful mess of possibilities.
It really is.
So what does this all mean for you, the avid follower of football, the fan of strategy? This deep dive into a 0-0 draw, it isn't just about what didn't happen on the scoreboard, right?
No.
It's kind of a masterclass in how really rigid defenses, tactical compromises, that sheer will to just not lose, how that can create maybe even more suspense, more complexity than a goal fest sometimes.
Yeah, it forces you to look deeper.
Exactly. Look beyond the scoreline, appreciate that intricate web of possibilities that unfolds when every point, every goal, every clean sheet matters so much. So as we head into these final decisive matches, maybe think about this. In a sport built around scoring goals, how fascinating is it that a lack of them has made Group E the most unpredictable, most talked about group in the whole Club World Cup?
Something to definitely ponder as we watch it all unfold.